Okay, welcome back to Invest Info episode 33. All right, this one's going to be entitled Year to Date Performance and Lessons I've Learned Throughout the Past Year. Now, this is wrapping up a little days after my first year of investing. I'm going to show my performance, and the reason I want to show that is to show, what of all the studying of Warren Buffett, Phil Town, and Mo Nekrabaya has gotten me, throughout this first year. What was my rate of return? How did I perform? I'm going to show it all with you guys so you could see. All right, just being transparent as possible because somebody could tell you, give you all this investment advice in the world, but performance shows. Is this guy sticking by his principle, and how is he performing on his rate of return? All right, so let's go overall. Okay, so since I've started February 18th. All right, I'm up 279% currently. Now the portfolio was a lot higher than this, not a lot higher, but at one point we had a very bullish week, and the portfolio at one point was about 61,000, which was a little over 330%. But I didn't do the show at that time because one stock that I have exposure to, IVR, was waiting for the earnings report to fully conclude the first year of investing. But stocks fluctuate, so we're hovering anywhere from 279% to anywhere between 330%. Long story short is we tripled our money, you know, and other people in the Invest Info chatters have done more, done less, but overall had a positive rate of return on the year. So as you can see, this investment started with about 14,000 of my own money through the course of a year. Like I said, a bulk of that was leveraging personal loans, and now it's time to pay back the IRS. Oh yeah, that's one thing I want to talk about: taxes, right? So when you do well in the stock market, you always have to account that this is capital gains tax. Um, if you run up a certain month, might do really well. Don't go blow all that cash. Remember, you have to pay your taxes on this. So I haven't done that yet, but one thing I would say is I've heard, okay, I haven't practiced it myself, but you can look it up yourself, that LLC, a business account, opening up an LLC business account where the tax rate on your capital gains will be fixed and not fluctuate based on how much you make throughout the year. So that's one thing I wanted to do. Try is do the LLC business account. Another thing is getting real estate property because this is the first year where I'm filing taxes where I have to pay back in the year of 2020. So I have to pay back quite a sum, but if I'd bought some real estate, which something I want to do last year, but it just didn't work out, that would have been a huge tax write-off. So this is why the wealthy, they often buy real estate for tax purposes. They have LLCs for tax purposes. Okay, so what's some of my big takeaways from my first year of investing? I want to start off with the first, which is patience. Throughout the year, I lost more selling than I did holding. If I'd have just held and been patient, more often than not, if you understand what you own and confidence in the business, the stock price will eventually prove you were right. But emotions get the best of you. Sometimes it's hard not to go with the hype, not to go with the crowd. Sometimes it's hard to be an independent, especially with the emotions in investing. And the Robinhood app and these different apps with the reds and the greens and the flashing lights, it doesn't help. All it does is stimulate your mind to do some sort of activity. When you look back in hindsight, the best thing was to do was nothing. All right, so patience was one of the main takeaways from this year. The taxes was a major takeaway from this year. One thing else, many things else that I took away from this year is group investing, right? So at the end of the day, you're your own individual investor. Now, it's always good to, some might disagree, but I believe it's good to be open ears to fellow investors. That doesn't mean you make your final decision on what they are telling you, but there's so many things in this market, and there's some certain simple things out there that someone else could explain to you. If you go back to the previous shows, We had somebody from the Invest Info group did a interviewed him on Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has just skyrocketed since, and at this point, I do get that it's something that is institutionally backed and it cannot collapse overnight. And he saw it, and a lot of people else saw it, but at the time, people weren't fully convinced, But as Bitcoin rages up to about 60,000 currently, people are now joining along the bandwagon. So when you find something that somebody else doesn't quite see the value in, but you see it, stick by your guns. Um, Options trading. We did option. I did a form of a little bit of everything throughout the year. I tried a little bit of crypto. I tried a little bit of options trading. But long-term dividend holding companies was sort of my strong suit. And by the way, you have people that get into hyper growth stocks that would far outperform myself. But my benchmark was the S&P 500, right? And on the year, did well above the S&P 500 because that's what most these 401ks and pensions and all these stuff go into. They go into these mutual funds. They take your money and just invest it in indexes and ETFs. But the ability to pinpoint and find businesses on your own is pretty good. Now, I'm gonna be honest too. When the portfolio was a bit higher, I kind of wanted to use that amount to, kind of make my return look better. But it's all right. I understand that this thing is a patient game. Is a patient game. So far in the year, up 300, anywhere from 280 to 300%. As you can see, in June had that huge run up, and this is also I want to talk about not getting discouraged because as you can see, the portfolio went very bearish from 52,000 all the way down to about 30. I remember it was 31. Being down in a certain position, 27,000. These types of mental battles that come with investing. Um, but series of events, patience, luck, as they would call it, and I was able just as recently to see the portfolio trend back upwards. So it's a good site, and it was a complete learning experience over the past year. I'm glad I was able to put together some videos that others found insightful, and I was glad I was able to hear our other investors that do different sort of investing, whether not just stocks but real estate and businesses. Um, and whatever I learn, I just try to retail it back to the up and coming investor. Um, yeah, so this thing requires patience, temperament, a sound mind. It's hard, but sometimes you just want to be able to get away from your phone and go out and exercise and not focus too much on the market and try sometimes not to be too active and just really just be patient. Um, and that was the year in review. We got a huge market crash in March. People are waiting for the next crash. Um, but the market truly is not really how you say over bullish right now or over pumped because the reason that the market is seeming like it's skyrocketing is because the currency that is backed by, this number you see here is denominated in dollars. If the market prices were dictated by gold, the market would have been down by 20%. Bitcoin had been down even more. But, with a weakening currency, um, interest rates low and not being changed, more money being printed, you're going to be seeing money flow or inflation in assets such as stocks, real estate. I won't say bonds. Bonds are not a good investment right now, but even crypto. So a lot has been learned throughout the year. I'm glad for anyone that was saw some sort of edification out this channel, and gonna continue pushing out invest info lessons. All right, see you guys on the next one.